I'm enjoying Borderlands 4 quite a bit, but there are 5 specific things that I absolutely hate about this game and would like to see changed. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about those things. Now, I want to say I certainly am enjoying Borderlands 4 a lot more than I'm hating it, and I plan to make a 5 things I enjoy about Borderlands 4 video, or 5 things I love about Borderlands 4 video. So if you are interested in that, be sure to subscribe so that you get a notification for that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about 5 things I hate about Borderlands 4 and would like to see changed. Now, the very first thing that I absolutely hate about Borderlands 4 is something I find so incredibly frustrating, and that is the world bosses. Now, I don't find the world bosses alone annoying. I actually find them really cool. It's very fun when you're just exploring the open world to find a random world boss and fight it. The thing I hate about these world bosses is the bubble arena thing that they have, and how the boss interacts with that, and how you as the player interact with that. What I mean is what you can look at in the gameplay. In the gameplay, you see that I'm fighting this world boss, and they end up flying outside of their bubble. Now, the issue with this is when that they're outside of the bubble, and you're inside the bubble, you can't shoot through the bubble. So, like it's entirely bulletproof. So you're entirely dependent on the boss just kind of slowly walking back into that bubble. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, why don't you just leave the bubble and go shoot them? Well, that's what I do in this gameplay. And you see the moment that you leave this bubble, the boss instantly despawns. It doesn't matter, like as you see in the gameplay, if you are outside the bubble for less than 2 seconds, the world boss will instantly despawn, even if the world boss itself is outside the bubble. This is something that is just absolutely ridiculous, and when this happens to me, oh my god, I purposely did this in order to get footage of it happening, because I think it's something that's just so ridiculous. But even when this happened to me while I was getting footage for it, I was so frustrated. It's just such a silly thing, and I understand they want you to stay in that bubble. However, if the boss is able to leave it, that is really dumb. And if the player is not able to leave it, maybe let us leave it for 3 seconds before the boss instantly despawns, or maybe prevent the boss from flying outside of the bubble, because what am I supposed to do in that situation? Just wait for it to slowly walk over? Yeah, it's very silly, and I think it's something that can very easily be fixed. But yeah, it definitely makes me frustrated whenever this happens to me. So that is the number one thing. I want to say this list isn't really in any particular order. So yeah, that's just one thing I hate about Borderlands 4. Another thing I hate about Borderlands 4, I've mentioned in a previous video, and quite literally everybody has said, is that on console, basic features like a FOV slider and being able to disable motion blur are just not there. You can't change your field of view, you can't change your motion blur, but you can change really specifically and incrementally your sensitivity, which is really nice. But it's like, okay, why can I change my sensitivity really incrementally and specifically within a feature as basic as a FOV slider or motion blur is disabled? Something that's just very silly. And kind of surprising that it's not in a 2025 game, especially a first-person shooter one. And I said this in a previous video, but people might say, oh, why are you complaining about an FOV slider in a PvE game? Well, personally, I get motion sick, and having higher field of view makes me feel less motion sick, and that applies to a lot of people. And also, motion blur is just something that's nice to disable. So the fact this isn't on consoles is quite ridiculous, and is something that, I'm definitely quite disappointed in, but I feel like could certainly be added into this game. It's not really anything too crazy of a request. Now, the third thing I have is something that if you have played any of the Borderlands games before Borderlands 4, you will probably be missing too, and that is the fact that there is a lack of quest-specific items. You're not getting any more blues with red text after you complete a side mission, which is just so disappointing. I really do miss that. And that's not to say you're not getting rewards for side missions, But the rewards you're getting are these loot boxes where you'll have a chance of getting like a blue weapon or a purple weapon, or sometimes you'll get a legendary, which is nice. But there's no quest-specific items, which is just really, really disappointing. And I have absolutely no idea why they didn't add this. I feel like in Borderlands 4 specifically, this would be fantastic because you have the option to replay missions. So if there is a quest-specific item, it's not like people are, going to be locked out of it if they do it early. You can always just replay a mission. So I just think it's a really big bummer that there's a lack of quest-specific items. And, the loot box mechanic, like the way you redeem gear is okay. Compared to other Borderlands games where you would just pick up headpieces and then you would like claim them in your inventory. It's about the same. Like, it's still kind of silly, but I really do miss quest-specific rewards and, just getting like a blue item with a red text from doing a side quest. I think that's something that this game really is missing. And I gotta say, like, the side quests in this game are pretty fun. There's some silly ones, and it's just kind of crazy that there isn't any quest-specific items. I think that's something that this game really is missing. Hopefully in future content they do add that. But yeah, I really do not. I'm missing the quest-specific items. And as far as the loot boxes, I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent about them just because, in my eyes, a lot of the time it's just for redeeming like cosmetics. That's most of the time what you're opening loot boxes for. Though you're also sometimes getting weapons out of them, which I don't know if it really feels great. I'd honestly just have would prefer getting a like red chest at the end of a side quest as opposed to opening a loot box in my inventory. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent on the loot boxes, and I think it's a really big bummer there's no quest-specific items. Another thing that I have talked about and many other people have already talked about is optimization. I feel like it's kind of getting better, but I'm on a PS5 Pro, and as you play this game, just for a couple hours or so, it will progressively drop in frames, which is just ridiculous. But I don't know. I would like to see the optimization fixed. I don't really want to yap on this too long just because it's like, the FPS is bad. But overall, like, the game looks great. It's just the frames drop way too quickly as you just play the game, which is pretty ridiculous. So yeah, the optimization is another thing that I just hate about Borderlands 4. And the final thing I have to mention in this video is the mini-map. I think the mini-map that you can enable in the menu, you can see it at the top right, it is so bad. The thing is, it can be so much better because this game has a map. Why can't they just like put, like a zoomed in portion of that map as the mini map? But instead they have this it's literally just a circle. It's like a sonar, like a submarine scanning for people. I think the mini map is really just bad, and especially in an open world game like this where sometimes it can be confusing where to go. Having a more detailed mini-map would be really nice. And although, yeah, you do have Echo 4 where it like gives you a path of where to go, a mini-map would still be so nice to have, especially given that it's an open world game. With all that being said, that is 5 things that I really do not like about Borderlands 4 and would like to see changed. Let me know what you guys think of Borderlands 4 and some things that you dislike about the game. I'm going to be making a video, again, as I said at the start of this video, about 5 things that I love about Borderlands 4, so, subscribe for that if you are interested. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you very much for my YouTube members who financially support me. And yeah, with all that being said, thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.